Alright, this newsletter honestly caught me completely off guard. I think I was like expecting it to come out like on Christmas or the 31st or something like that. But instead it came out the day before I'm going to see Sonic 3 because apparently they're doing like a special early showing on the 19th instead of the 20th. So now I have to like turn off the Sonic part of my brain to turn on the Deltarune part of my brain. Honestly, throughout this year, it just feels like whenever something Deltarune related comes out, like a sleeper agent, just part of my brain wakes up. So literally, I just checked my subscription feed and saw that Shay already made a video on this. And in the thumbnail, I saw the Snowgrave Ice Crystal. And so that's making me wonder if Shay just put that in the thumbnail because December, or if we're like doing a new trend of dark newsletters since last time we got one referencing a genocide route. So I guess in this one we're referencing Snowgrave, and actually I can already read some of it in the title, and it says it's cold, snow is blanketed the ground. Let's see what this is. Oh boy. It's cold, snow has blanketed the ground. In this state, it's hard to know where to find anything. Let's start by looking up. Alright, I'm not even gonna bother looking into any of this too much. At least right now, unless like I have another brain blast like in the last newsletter with the number 9. Oh boy, blue sky. Up above was the blue sky. Alright, I'm having a brain blast now. Sky's forever blue. Dragon Blazers, hello? Okay, probably not that, probably just talking about the blue sky account. Anyways, suddenly a shadow appeared above you. How horrifying. Wait, a shadow? Sonic reference? Okay. Hey, are you following me or something? Hey, if you're gonna follow me around, follow me at the place where it looks like a butterfly. It flew away. Yep, blue sky account. This is the place. There's the house carpet. It's the greatest song of all time if you haven't listened to it. See if I can find it. I think it was like the first thing. So basically Toby's blue sky account is basically his crap post account. Here it is. So good. I'll just let that play. I think it's pronounced Blueski. There I tested the waters, ground, and sky. I made several posts about chicken, which actually resemble an image of a dog climbing. That's such a funny joke. So, this, I feel like, is absolutely just meant to be the dog. But a lot of people saw it and said that it looked like a chicken, and now he's saying that it's actually a chicken that looks like a dog. That's the dumbest meta joke I've ever seen. Alright. I even made a song about a carpet. You sure did. Wait, is this just the instrumental? I didn't even know there was an instrumental of the song. Here's the popular one. This is what? I did not want to see any of this. This is why no one likes you, Sans. In case Blueski flies away, I upload all the posts here as a memorial. That way you don't even have to remember the website. This is so stupid. Okay. Game change. After 4 months of waiting for a stable version, we were able to update GameMaker and do public testing of its new chapter switching command, Game Change. It had some hiccups that needed to be ironed out, but overall it seemed to work okay. However, a side effect of updating GameMaker, many other changes to the underlying engine. Alright, I'm gonna stop the carpet song now, it's distracting. However, as a side effect of updating GameMaker, many other changes to the underlying engine caused unforeseen issues to pop up all across the game, creating new crashes and even awakening some old bugs that were already fixed a long time ago. We've tried to fix everything we can, but it's hard to know if we got everything. One day in the future, after 3 and 4 are out, we will need to update GameMaker again in an even more extensive way. causing new and unknown bugs, crashes, and strange differences to appear once again in a game that's twice as big as it is now. I hope this illuminates one interesting aspect of game creation for you guys. Thank you very much to everyone that tested. Aw. This is so bizarre to me, because it's the same umbrella from Undertale, but I think it's at a different angle, and I feel like I'm looking at some kind of eldritch object now. That doesn't feel right to me. Anyways, Deltarune progress. Oh. Yep, there it is. Alright, Snowgrave. Here we go. The new trend. Next time they'll reference the... On Valentine's Day, they should reference the Undertale neutral ending where you kill Papyrus and Sans moves into Toriel's house. There you go. Buried into the snow was kind of ancient crystal. And there's... Alright. It sure is ancient. It might even be 2 months old. That's oddly specific. The crystal resonated with a message. Oh. Deltarune reached a 6th anniversary. Was there a newsletter for, like, Halloween? All I can remember is the Undertale anniversary newsletter because of the whole 9 situation. If there was one on Halloween, it is just gone from my memory. Anyways, since Undertale came out, 9 years passed, and I only released 2 chapters of Deltarune so far. Internally, chapter 3 and 4 are basically completed. Besides translation and bug testing, they're frozen, waiting to be released. Impatiently, you dug it out. Surprise! They're coming out right now. No. Anyways, seems that the dog will thaw with the passage of time. So, are we just going to continue to see this melting throughout the newsletters as, like, a progress loading bar, basically? If that's actually what happens, that's really funny. Don't use the defrost setting, it will make the fur curl up and get sticky. Okay. Whoa, Undertale DLC, new snow collection minigame? Holy crap. Alright, chapter 3. The game was tested by a professional team on PC. It's a bit strange. Some of the only people to play the game so far are just some talented and reliable guys in a room somewhere. I wonder if they liked it. I'm going to ask if they liked it. I got a response to summarize. It was a lot of work trying to test all the subtle details and text differences in the game. On the other hand, it was enjoyable to find these things on your own. As a single criticism, it's a bit inconvenient not being able to save during certain longer portions, but those portions were totally fun, and made you excited to see what was going to happen next. That's what they sound like. That seems like a fair assessment. There is a long section where you cannot save, but it's also rumored to be fun. Noyo, yo, noyo, yo, dog twiddling realistic human thumbs. I have no idea what that means. That's what the reviews say so far. Yep, alright. By the way, a number of reports from the testing team were about things that seemed like bugs, but were actually intentional. Oh, this is gonna be funny to read. Wait, no. No. What? Oh no. Why is he everywhere? Typo in the text displayed after acquiring pizza sent and redacted. Overview, there seems to be a typo in the text displayed after acquiring pizza sent and the redacted area of redacted. Details, after obtaining pizza sent, a line of dialogue from redacted contains the word Japanese, which apparently translates to pepperoni. However, it seems the correct word should be pepperoni. But apparently that was intentional, so pepperoni must be some kind of pun to something in a future chapter. But I'm freaking out because pizza scent means probably something related to icy. And, like, this is a winter newsletter with ice and snow and stuff, and icy is just going to drive me insane until he actually becomes relevant to the plot somehow and, like, transforms into Omega Icy. Alright, Chapter 3 is pretty solid now, like ice. Only console-related aspects remain. Chapter 4. Okay, so they're hinting that something is going to happen with the December family in Chapter 4 for sure. Chapter 4 is going to be very important, and also the Snowgrave oh man. Okay, yep, alright. So, immediately, what I speculate is, specifically for the Snowgrave route, I think Chapter 4 is going to be very, very important. This is like the Snowgrave newsletter. We saw in the one with the genocide newsletter that in Chapter 4 it looks like we'll see Noel's house. Now, under Chapter 4, there's a Christmas tree. So Chapter 4 is going to be the Snowgrave chapter of all time, is what I'm getting from this. Also, maybe Icy somewhere. I don't think Icy is actually... I feel like Icy is just going to be continued to be teased until either A, we get an Icy Dark World, or B, we get a Graveyard Dark World in which the buried, burned Icy pizza box becomes like a secret boss or something. I cannot believe that's a real sentence I just said, but that is not unlikely. The first Japanese translation passive Chapter 4 was placed into the game. Here is some text, although keep in mind the translation is a work in progress. It will take some months before a translation is completed with a final pass. Inferno and Inferno. Okay. Yeah, alright. Heh, what's with you? Making me feel better. What is this? I like you too, so woozy? Yeah, alright, knock it off with this stupid voice. What kind of character is this? Susie, can you enrich my enclosure? A lot of people talking to Susie in Chapter 4. I can punch a hole in drywall and hide toys in... Are we getting a Christmas Dark World in Chapter 4? Chapter 4 is going to be a huge chapter for the Snowgrave route, if that's the case. Huh. So, the leading theory for Chapter 4's Dark World has been being the church, because Noel and Rudy Holiday are specifically going to church the next day. So maybe, like, we're going to run into them at church and, like, hang out there, and then maybe Noelle will invite, like, Chris and Susie to her house, and then a Dark World gets created at their house, and then that creates a Christmas-themed Dark World? I'm actually really starting to think that we're getting a Christmas Dark World in Chapter 4. Like, that actually does make a lot of sense, considering how important the Holiday family seems to be to the plot. Huh. Interesting. To be or not to... Wait. to buy or not to buy. Like buying Christmas presents? Listen, it disgusts me to say this, but one as an act of charity. I will let you be the breeze under my wings. You Me Festival. Did it hurt when you fell? Your tag says you're, the moon. Okay. Okay, but there's also a Christmas thing under Chapter 5. I'm still leaning towards Chapter 4, though, because we already saw that we seem to go to Noel's house in Chapter 4, so... After translation is nearing completion, we will begin PC testing. After that, we will do console testing for 3 and 4. Chapter 5! It's him! Okay. There is a clearing where some ice had melted. Some team members had to focus on Chapter 1, 2, and 3 bug fixes for a while, but our more recent hires have been able to work on Chapter 5 during that time, so progress has still been steady. The rate of creation is quite solid this time. Many things are in development at once. New merch. Oh yeah, so I guess this is the Okay, I was literally going to talk about this, but apparently the newsletter can dig into my brain and read my mind and make my thoughts and dreams into reality. So, Toby released this new merch, and there's this important description. There's this important person shirt, and on Fangamer, the description for the shirt is really interesting, but he just put the description in the newsletter, so I don't even have to go to the website, because he can read my mind, and he lives in my head and walls. And the description, as you can see here, says, "Their love will become yours. Your love will become theirs." Which seems to very much, in my head, be a reference to Kara as well, because I am the Kara expert now. Basically, what I read from this description is... So my interpretation of the whole player Kara Frisk relationship thing in Undertale is, essentially... So with Deltarune, you have the player, or whatever entity may represent the player in Deltarune, that is taking control of Chris. And if you basically apply that relationship to Kara and Frisk, Kara is like where the player is, whereas Frisk is the vessel. But if you apply that relationship in Deltarune to us and Kara, we, as the player, are the player, and Kara is our vessel. And so, when you kill an Undertale, it increases your love. And more specifically, in the stats, you can see, like, Kara's, and literally Kara's stats in the game, Kara's love increases. And the whole idea of love, or level of violence, is the more you kill, the more you distance yourself and the easier it becomes. And that can apply to both the player and to Kara, because it's like in Undertale, the more you as the player kill the characters, the more you grow used to it, and it doesn't bother you as much. But also, Kara's love in-game also grows the more you kill. And so it's like, your level of violence is something that you both share, and your level of violence is intertwined. Very... kind of Snowgrave-esque with some kind of dark romantic undertones, which feels kind of weird to say, but I think that's about all I can read into that. But the important person sure also does like directly apply to Chris as well. So that's interesting to think about. Then Sham plush, Fangamer wanted to make another plush. I was told that many people wanted a plush of Sham. I don't think Sham would believe that in any case. I had to make a design. Wizard Energy. Unironically kind of nice. Really sick. Wait. That's interesting. We haven't seen this weapon before with Sham. I do remember there was like that one, like, I think it was in some kind of random booklet that Toby left a note, like, or something like that, that mentioned that Sham, like, fights with some kind of tool. I forget what it's called, but I wonder if this looks anything like that. I gave them a staff with which they can cast magic, Dusty Magic. Dusty Magic is actually a horrifying concept in regards to the world of Undertale and Deltarune, because specifically we know in Undertale, monsters turn to dust when they die, so like, the concept of someone using Dusty Magic is like, that's like blood-bending level from Avatar. That's actually horrifying if... Huh. That twinkles like... Okay, yeah, so Toby seems to be aware of this. Dusty magic that twinkles like broken dreams. That's terrifying. Although it could sort of be considered official, there's no tail. Should they have a large fluffy tail, or maybe it was torn off by cruel and loving hands? Has Sham met Gaster? Alright, anyway, by now, the tail in your mind should be stronger than anything I show you. Don't be discouraged. Is that like a reference to Undertale? Am I reading too much into that? I don't know. Happy Toriel. Oh, new song, new banner arrived. Oh, another with Camellia. Collaborated on a new song for Sega's rhythm game, Chinithm. So Toby is in cahoots with Sonic, I knew it. This song is called Theater Creator. Each song in the game has a unique character that goes along with it. In this case, it's about a theater master who's actually a god of chaos. This was their idea. Toby had to clarify that so that we wouldn't look too much into it and be like, new Jevil lore hidden in the song. It is very funny though that does match up. Like a theater master kind of fits Jevil, because Jevil's a jester. And then God of Chaos. So yeah, it's just funny that Toby had to clarify this was their idea. As usual for collaborations, I created some of the melodies and Camellia did all of the hard work. As a reference for what type of song to make, Sega sent... Yes, behold my genius. Sega sent me an example. The example was the world revolving. Saw the Jevil connection from a mile away. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoy the song. On Halloween 2024, we announced Chapter 3 and 4 will release in 2025. This is that much % true. We are also working on some other exciting things that we can't talk about now. Interesting. It will take a good while to get going, but 2025 looks like it will be an interesting year. Oh, okay, of course. Another letter. Alright, here we go. Snowman. Wait! Oh, I'm having a brain blast already. I haven't even read it. Alright. I'll explain the brain blast after I read this. When it snows, me and my sister and everyone have a contest to make the biggest snow angel of all. Oh, there's the angel connection again. My brain is going to explode. We will lie on the ground and spread out our arms and wave them until we get a shape just like us. I'm the smallest, even smaller than Chris, but I don't lose. Because after we stand up to look, Des always tells me, "Hey look, Ellie, new nickname just dropped. Yours has more hidden underneath," and pushes away all the snow I couldn't reach, so I have the biggest wings of all. I wish it could snow whenever I wanted. Be careful what you wish for, Noel. Alright. I am loving the edgy letters we are getting from Undertale and Deltarune characters. This is... I wasn't even. I literally just saw an image and was like, oh, I wonder what this image is called. And we get another one of these things that breaks the lore in my mind and everything else. So, the brain blast I immediately had is that for a while I've been thinking about Chris and Noelle's relationship in Snowgrave. And something that I've kind of said for a while is that it somewhat reminds me of Kara and Azriel's relationship, specifically with the whole plan that Kara came up with. Because I don't think that Kara and Azriel's relationship, I don't think like Kara was like constantly just like using Azriel as a tool and manipulating Azriel, but I do think there was like a bit of a toxic like thing to their relationship. And you can see that in the tapes in the True Lab where Azriel's like, no, I don't like this idea, but he's like, no, but I said I believe in you and you're my friend, so I'll do it for you. And like, that just comes off as like really toxic and whatnot. And it's very similar to how Noelle acts in the Snowgrave route, how she's like, oh, I don't really want to do this, but then you push her to keep growing stronger and whatnot. And there's already been like a lot of people have like analyzed all the connotations that are in the Snowgrave route so far and whatnot. And the more I thought about it, the more that like Noelle to a degree reminds me of Azriel, just because from what we see of Azriel in the tapes, he comes off as like a very naive kid, and he's very timid, like he gets easily scared by Kara's scary face. And Rudy describes Noelle as like getting frozen like a deer in headlights when she's like confronted with a situation that makes her freak out. And she's someone who doesn't know how to say no. She just can't help trying to help people and trying to be nice, even when it doesn't benefit her, so which gets her into a lot of toxic relationships as well. And the last letter was written by Azriel, and now this letter is written by is written by Noelle, and there's this whole connection I'm making in my head to Azriel and Noelle. What's interesting though is that I was also like thinking more about like connections to characters and stuff, and I've been like avoiding playing Deltarune, so like there's probably a lot of small details in Deltarune I don't remember. But something I thought of though is that I feel like there's also a connection between Noelle and Alphys and Susie and Undyne, because in chapter 1, so first of all, in chapter 1, there's just this small moment where Noelle gets nervous, and to show that, the text in her text box gets smaller, and then literally like 5 seconds afterward, Alphys gets nervous, and the same exact thing happens with her text box. And then furthermore, we learn in the Spamton sweepstakes that Noelle usually stays after class to help Alphys clean up after class, so that's another connection between Noelle and Alphys going on a roll here. And then, of course, Noelle loves Susie, and Alphys loves Undyne, and Undyne described herself in her youth as a hot-headed kid, and Susie is a hot-headed kid. So yeah, it's pretty much all there is to that. And then in this, like, freaking web of character connections that I've constructed, since Undyne is connected to Kara, and Susie is connected to Undyne, you can also kind of connect Susie to Kara, which also does kind of fit, because, like, Susie... So, jeez, my brain is... So, Azriel describes Kara's obsession with power as, like, a desire to have power to protect themselves and the people they care about. And Susie's whole thing is she puts up a tough exterior because she doesn't want people to hurt her, seemingly. And she seemingly doesn't have a great home situation. And Kara also seemingly didn't have a great home situation since they are literally a human who hates humans. So clearly they're mistreated by humanity in some way. And it seems like Susie may have been mistreated by her family in some way. So yeah, just immediately once I started reading this and saw, oh, this is written by Noelle, I'm like, oh, here's another big connection thing. I'm trying to think, though, like... I guess another interesting thing about Noelle being connected to Alphys and Asriel is that Alphys is responsible for the creation of Flowey, so that's a connection that Alphys has with Asriel. But I'm like, if a connection between Noelle and Asriel is, like, seriously being made, I'm like, what does that mean exactly? There's also the whole obvious angel thing. So, Kara can be considered an angel. Asriel can be considered an angel. Noelle, there's a lot of connections to the angel being made. I honestly, at this point, think Des might be the angel from Deltarin's prophecy. Not completely sure about that, but that's a possibility. Chris is compared a lot to the devil, actually. And then after doing a second genocide run, Kara goes from, like, being an angel of death to calling themselves a demon. And there's also a bunch of connections between Kara and Chris. So basically, I don't really know what to make of any of this. There's just so many connections, and things could go in so many different directions. It is overwhelming, but there are all the connections. If anyone wants to start theorizing off of that, there you go. But as for the Noelle-Asriel connection... So, Asriel is attached to Kara, Noelle is attached to Des. Both sibling relationships. I'm wondering if, like, Noelle might... I was going to say, I wonder if Noelle might have, like, a villain arc, basically, but I feel like she already is going down that path, specifically in the Snowgrave route. So Asriel's whole thing is he wants to keep things going on forever, so will Noelle adopt that mindset at some point? Maybe? I don't know. Geez, I'm actually lightheaded from talking a bit. That's not good. I had a... how do I pronounce this? A orthostatic hypotension where I fainted and I felt lightheaded then, so yeah, that's fun. But anyways... yeah, I'll probably just record something else to say here because I'm getting brain blasted here, so I don't think I can say much more that's coherent. But nice newsletter. Very cool, Mr. Fox. Do you think Snowman is a reference to Nightmare? Alright, it's a couple of days later. I saw Sonic 3 and I absolutely loved it. It is probably now, honestly, my favorite movie of all time. Definitely not biased at all. But anyways, so I went through everything I recorded from the 18th and also took some time to go through here. First of all, just wanted to say I missed that some of these actually show what character is talking, but what really stuck out to me is that this one with Birdly. So Birdly say, "Listen, it disgusts me to say this, but as an act of charity, I will let you be the breeze under my wings. You, me, festival." So, Birdly festival date confirmed? Is this the the biggest lore drop in Deltarune history. But anyway, seriously. So first of all, I, like, half-jokingly went Skies Forever Blue here, but, like, it's cold. Snow has blanketed the ground. In this state, it's hard to know where to find anything. Let's start by looking up. Up above was the blue sky. Suddenly a shadow appeared above you. So obviously this, like, transitions into the blue sky account. But just, the tone just starts so seriously. And I feel like I haven't seen people talk about this a lot. So in the description for the Skies Forever Blue music video on YouTube, you can go to this website, tobyfangamer.com, and that's actually where, like, these letters are, tobyfangamer.com. And this one is /girl, which refers to the pink girl in Skies Forever Blue. And you scroll down here, and you see the world of Skies Forever Blue. So at the end of the video, the world gets erased. And I believe that's because I read some comments for that video a long time ago, and I saw one that said that the type of, like, Game Boy or whatever it's called that the game is being played on, apparently, like, its batteries burn out after a while permanently, and that I think that's what happens here. Or it could just be that, like, the girl, like, going outside of, like, the story, or I guess you could say the prophecy, kind of puts the world on the brink, and that's what erases everything. But either way, the world seems to get erased at the end of it. But down here, we see the world of Skies Forever Blue, and we see the hero standing up here. But then you keep scrolling down into the depths under the world, and you see the girl alone in the dark. And this just, like, screams Deltarune to me. And so, like, I think I'm kind of all aboard the, like, idea that the world in Skies Forever Blue is Dragon Blazers, because also in the music video you see that the final boss of the game is, like, a skeleton dragon. So it could just mean that the the themes of the song could be, like, very relevant to Deltarune, but there's, like, also a chance that, like, maybe at some point we will actually, like, meet the girl as a character in Deltarune. That would blow my mind. I don't know if that's gonna happen, though, but I just thought I'd talk about this a bit more, just because it honestly does feel to me like this could just be the Blue Sky account, but it really makes me think of Skies Forever Blue. Like, has the girl met Gaster? Skies Forever Blue secret boss confirmed. So yeah, so there's that. But anyways, now for the real meat of this whole thing. So we got Noel's letter, and immediately I jumped to, like, all different character connections and all of that, and I got so wrapped up in that I kind of forgot to really just talk about the letter here itself. So let's go over it. When it snows, me and my sister and everyone have a contest to make the biggest snow angel of all. We lie on the ground and spread out our arms and wave them until we get a shape just like us. I'm the smallest, even smaller than Chris, but I don't lose, because after we stand up to look, Des always tells me, "Hey look, Ellie, yours has more hidden underneath," and pushes away all the snow I couldn't reach, so I have the biggest wings of all. I wish it could snow whenever I wanted. So, there are, I think, a couple different ways you can interpret this, but there is like one, like, kind of theme that can be found in this that I think is like fundamental. So, no here saying, so I have the biggest wings of all at the end, I think implies like essentially her true nature, because Noelle is very, very powerful. Like, when you think about it, Chris, while fighting Spam to Neo solo, like, does one of the most powerful attacks we've ever seen, Cross Slash, and that does a ton of damage. But then Spam to Neo, like, drastically increases his defense to the point that Chris can barely do any damage to him. But then, seemingly in one turn, Noelle may actually sans teleport into the room. Not completely sure about that, but it does do, like, the whole, like, screen going black thing. Then, seemingly in one turn, she hits Spam to Neo 3 times while his defense is massively increased, and still manages to do far more damage than Chris's Cross Slash. Like, it's not even close. So, like, Noelle is actually stupidly powerful. And so, her having the biggest wings of all, I think, is, like, obviously heading towards that. But where it gets a bit more complicated is that Des seemingly pushes away all the snow, which then leads to her having those large wings. So it's like, could that just be like, even though Noelle doesn't seem super powerful, like, it's like Des reveals, like, that she's actually powerful? Or if we, like, take this in another way, like, is it saying that Des might literally be giving Noelle power? Like, if, say, Des is the angel from the prophecy, is it possible that, like, Des as the angel is, like, powering Noelle just maybe, like, to keep her safe or something like that? I don't really know about that. I think Noelle's power may be her own, but So there's that. But then there's this last part. I wish it could snow whenever I wanted. So I think the whole idea here is that Noelle associates the snow here with Des. And she likes spending time with Des, of course. And we also hear in Chapter 2 that she likes scary things specifically because when she gets scared, she likes it when someone comes to comfort her. And so here, I think it's the same kind of thing. She wishes it could snow so Des would show up. And this does remind me of how at the end of Asriel's letter, he says, I just hope we'll be friends for 999 more years. So, Asriel and Noelle really seem to share this desire to keep spending time with the people they love, they don't want to let go. But it's interesting how... I'm like... I think the big connection I'm seeing now between Asriel and Noelle is that desire to hold on. They don't want to let go of the people they care about. But I feel like the difference between Asriel and Noelle is like, Asriel wants to keep... I feel like Asriel's is more focused on how much time we have left together, and I think that makes a lot of sense for Asriel, because boss monsters naturally will typically live much longer than humans will, and so I'm sure in the back of Asriel's mind, he's scared of the fact that this isn't going to last forever. Someday, I'm going to have to say goodbye to Kara and live on without them, and that's why Asriel wishes things would go on forever. But Noelle doesn't have to deal with that because Noelle isn't a boss monster, and so hers is more Azriel is more focused on not letting go, whereas Noelle, it's more a desire, I feel like, for someone to be there for her, to be comforted. And, I feel like that could come from her relationship with her mother, potentially. Like, Noelle is just desperate for more attention, and Noelle's mother is very much, like, focused on work and whatnot. And Noelle is, like, easily frightened and stuff by a lot of things. She's soft. So Azriel's whole thing at the end of True Pacifist was that he wanted to gain control of the timeline so he could keep resetting, keep things lasting forever. What would Noelle wanting affection mean? Well, obviously, though, Des is missing now, so... Actually, that does give me a thought. Azriel's whole thing is that he wants to keep things going on forever. Whereas I feel like for Noelle, she wants to bring Des back. She wishes she could make it snow. She wishes that Des could come back to comfort her. What would it take for Noelle to bring Des back? So essentially, I feel like Azriel wants to keep things going, keep things as they are. Whereas Noelle, I feel like, is almost more focused on the past. Kind of. It's like Azriel is still very much motivated by his past, but he had that desire, it seems, to keep things going even before he lost Kara, whereas Noelle, I feel like, is more focused on getting someone back. And what she's essentially learned from her childhood is that if she, finds something scary, someone will come to comfort her. And that brings us back to, like, what would she be willing to do? Like, I feel like instinctively for her, something as great and terrible as the roaring, for example, might mean that something equally nice would happen in response. What does it mean for Noelle to be an angel? This really makes me feel either the angel in the prophecy is Des, or Noelle is destined to become the angel in the prophecy. And the angel's heaven could be her reuniting with her sister, likely at the, but the cost of reuniting with her sister could be, the entire world, really. But I think Des honestly might be Noelle's world. At least to an extent. So what's really unnerving about this is that it explains... I feel like it explains a lot why Noelle is so vulnerable when it comes to Snowgrave and being manipulated, is that she desperately wants to have Des again. She wants someone to be affectionate towards her, and I feel like that opens her up to manipulation a lot. And the whole, like, thing in Snowgrave is, like, in a, unnerving way, you are, like, showing affection towards her, you know? You can demand that she rides in the Ferris wheel. When, you're asked if you're friends or not, you say you're something else. You literally put a ring on it. So in that way, you are kind of showing her a form of affection in the Snowgrave route. You are literally taking Dess's place in the worst way imaginable. I just wonder then, is the point of the Snowgrave route to find Dess? Or in the normal route, is like the goal going to be to find Dess, whereas in Snowgrave, it's more about replacing Dess, keeping Noelle from Dess, keeping Noelle under your control. I feel like that definitely could make sense. And once again, taking a moment to compare Noelle and Asriel. So in Undertale, Asriel essentially already has Kara back. He is somehow capable of, like, to some extent, recognizing Kara's presence within Frisk. And especially in the genocide run, you know, throughout the whole thing, Kara and Flowey are basically all buddy-buddy. But then Noelle, on the other hand, she just has lost Dess. Like, as far as she knows, she might not ever see her again. And I think that's why with Asriel it's more focused on keeping things as they are, because even if things aren't as great as they were back then for him, at least now in this moment he does have Kara again. He has an opportunity now that Kara is here to just keep this going forever, whereas mixed up Noelle and Dess again. Noelle is more focused on getting back there, getting to a point where she has Dess before she ever gets to that point where she wants to keep things going forever. Because right now, as things are, she definitely, keeping things going forever is the last thing she would want. Right now, she does want things to change, and I think once she reaches that point where she has what she wants, that might be where we see even more of an Asriel side to her, where she just wants to take control and just have things go her way for the rest of time. That's one direction things could go anyways. Anyways, outside of Noelle though, I definitely feel like our goal in the Snowgrave route, the point of us doing the Snowgrave route, is gaining our own freedom. Because I definitely feel like within the world of Deltarune, we are being chained down, and that power is the key to us gaining freedom. And like I said there, we and Chris are essentially, if Noelle's playing the role of Asriel, we and Chris are playing the role of Kara. We're pursuing power, and we're manipulating her to get to that power. And I feel like, though, what's really interesting about Snowgrave, though, is that by the end of Chapter 2, it's not just about this desire to see Dess again. Like, we seem to start to get Noelle on the same mindset. Like, she herself seems to become more power hungry, more desperate for control. And so I feel like within the Snowgrave route, it could be that we're taking Noelle, who has some similarities to Azriel, and we're pushing her. We're using her desperation for someone like Des to manipulate her into someone more like Kara, someone more power hungry. So what does Noelle become at that point? Who can say?